Well, hey, welcome into the barn this afternoon. I am 10 days out from I think, a freak accident in which I ended up with 5 broken ribs and a punctured lung and a couple of nights in the emergency room, and it wasn't very much fun. And I'm not a very good patient. The nurses, I think, were real happy to see me go. So, what happened and whose fault was it? And the reason I'm here in the barn is because I'm returned to the scene of the crime, so to speak. It happened just right here as I was leading my horse out this door. And since it happened here in the barn, I have security cameras, and so the whole part of it anyway was caught on video. So let's watch it here, and then you can kind of tell me what you think. The horse there, that is Silver, and my granddaughter, Josie, who's 9 years old, had come over to ride. So we were leading our horses through the barn here out to the arena out back. And Josie's kind of a beginning rider. She's maybe ridden a dozen times. So right here, I stopped, and there. I stopped. Now here's a slow motion of it. I stopped because there were a couple of stray dogs out there that have been giving me problems, and I was concerned. And I also want you to watch right here. See the horse step toward me? She took a step toward me before she blew me over. And you know, as I look at it, I've watched that several times. I did not notice her take a step toward me. I was distracted. I was looking at my granddaughter, who's a beginner. I was looking at those stray dogs, and I was concerned about what they've been causing trouble. And I was not watching my horse. I've raised this filly. She has, as far as I can remember, never spooked. I don't recall it. She's my cowboy racing horse. She's pretty bomb-proof on all kinds of obstacles. So certainly was not something that I expected. So let's go look at it from the other angle, see what we can figure out here. So looking at it from this angle, I had just put those water tanks there the day before, and Ruby had not seen them. So I think that's the reason that she stepped toward me. And then it appears that something kind of jumped at her, which most likely was my dog Gus. And because she was so close to me, which I teach all of my students, all of them, keep that horse at least an arm's length away from you when you're leading them. I teach all my students to do that. So, you know, I wasn't being safe. I was distracted. So whose fault was it? And another thing I teach all of my students is you don't get to blame the horse. That is not allowed. Okay? She's a flight animal. And speaking of Gus, he's here asking for forgiveness or something. The horse is a flight animal, and all she was doing was defending herself. So if there is any blame, it's on me. I don't know, you know, if the situation repeated itself, I don't know that I would do anything different, because I'm always going to keep an eye on my students and everything that's going on around me. And she was a pretty gentle horse, so, you know, if I'd been watching her, you know, there's all kinds of ifs and buts when something like this happens. So there's that. It's really important, very important, that we don't blame the horse. If you start doing that, then you don't really belong with horses. Okay, it's just not going to work for you. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go get Ruby. I haven't touched her in 10 days since this happened. In fact, I could not, after the accident, I couldn't unsaddle her. My daughter was here. She unsaddled her and then took me to the emergency room. It's pretty sad when they give you one of those frequent flyer cards, welcome back kind of thing. So I'm going to go get Ruby and just see what she feels about coming through this door again after 10 days. Let's find it. Okay. So first time I've had a halter on Ruby since the accident, and I'm going to lead her, and I can already tell she's a little bit alert. She's kind of alerted, looking over to the side there. And obviously I'm going to stay on this side where the spooky stuff is. So if she does jump, which I kind of doubt. So she looked at those tanks, but once she has a moment to look at them, I don't think it's going to be a problem. Okay, so once she looked at him, she's fine, and she likely will never have another problem with him again. But that was just my way of, and I am going to make sure that she understands, again, that I have a space. And I've taught her this many times, but never hurts to reinforce it after something like that. I have a space, and she needs to stay out of it. Okay, so, you know, it could be that I've let her training get a little bit lax right there. It's possible that I haven't been paying attention when I've been leading her, and I've let her get a little too close to me. And so I'm going to be a little more careful with that, at least for a while, till I make sure she stays where she needs to be, which is at least an arm's length away from me. That's a safe distance when you're leading a horse and they need to stay over there. So yeah, I'm one to talk, right? Okay, don't blame the horse.